We now have more information about Rishi Sunak's new Brexit deal with the European Union. But is it going to be enough to protect the integrity of the United Kingdom? Okay, so it's been a couple of hours since we heard the breaking news that Ursula von der Leyen and Rishi Sunak have their new agreements that is reached, and we're still waiting to see what the DUP's reaction going to be, Northern Ireland, and how they're going to be responding to this deal as they read more information about it. The DUP leaders have already said that they're going to be considering the details of it before they release any statements. But we have basic headlines of some of the information, some of the details that you're probably not going to hear if you just listen to the rant of Kay Burley or Beth Rigby on Sky News. So let's get into it. One of the issues, obviously the main issue, is this whole Northern Ireland Protocol. After we signed the Brexit agreement and we left the European Union, was the fact that Northern Ireland was left inside the European Union. When it comes to the customs union and single market rules, the European Court of Justice still is in charge of the stuff that happens in Northern Ireland. We have an agreement, trade agreement with the EU. At the same time, they say if products come from Great Britain into Northern Ireland, we have to check what they are because you might send it to the Republic of Ireland, which is a member of the EU. So what was the point of having a trade deal? Anyway, first things first. About this issue, about what sort of checks they're going to have from the products that come from Great Britain into Northern Ireland, they've come up with an idea that was already mentioned years ago, a twin lane. So you're going to have like a traffic light sort of system, where you're going to have one lane for the goods that could stay in Northern Ireland, or it could go straight to the Republic of Ireland. No checks, everything's fine. And they're going to have a separate lane for the products that are supposed to be staying in Northern Ireland. So they come from England or Scotland, and they're for the traders in Northern Ireland. And they said, because it's difficult to check, so it's like a handshake agreement, they say trusted traders, trusted British traders. So that's already making firstly, it's a bit of a divisive thing. It's also going to create more bureaucracy because not all traders are going to be on that list. So it's essentially advantageous if you're on that list. If you're trusted, then you're fine. You could trade with Northern Ireland if you're sitting in England or Scotland or Wales. But if you're not on that list, then you're in trouble. So what's going to happen to all the small business owners? So you have all the medium-sized and large businesses, corporations that can easily join that list, that special list, the trusted list. But what about the others? That's one problem I have. Second, and again, all this is just the headlines of the details. We're going to get even more information. We're going to analyze it further on this channel as usual. Second problem was the role of the European Court of Justice. Now, the ECJ, essentially, over time, we removed its supremacy when it comes to the rest of the country, technically speaking, right? Technically. But in Northern Ireland, it remains the main referee. So if there's any dispute in trade or anything else, that's technically the independent court, even though it's literally the European Court of Justice. So they've announced that there is a compromise in terms of the role of the ECJ. We still don't know what that means, but what they're trying to say is that we've minimized the role of ECJ, but it's still there. So that's interesting. They've said when it comes to setting VAT rates and state aid and those sort of policies, until now, with the deal that we've already signed, that was up to Brussels and the European Union to decide the VAT situation in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland, that was part of the UK. Brussels was doing it. The new deal, they say that it's going to be up to Westminster. So yay, well done, Rishi Sunak. We got something back in return. And so Westminster is going to be in charge of that. But again, we're going to find out more information about it. Stormont and essentially the Parliament, the Assembly in Northern Ireland is now also going to be getting more powers. But again, it sounds gimmicky. They've said that the establishment in Northern Ireland are going to get more powers to do pre-legislative scrutiny. So any law, EU law that comes up, because again, Northern Ireland is still semi-linked to Northern Ireland, to the European Union. The rest of the UK is out of the EU. So new EU laws will not apply to Great Britain. But because of Northern Ireland Protocol, new EU laws will apply in Northern Ireland. They said, well, at least we're going to give the establishment in Northern Ireland some more power and control over scrutiny. So what does that mean? Does that mean they can actually reject it, any new law? Or is it just scrutiny and like adding amendments? So that is also important to find out more information about, but at least it's something, I guess. But that's another thing. And also when it comes to medicine, so in terms of the regulations on pharmaceutical stuff, they also now trust British medicine. So if you have something in Great Britain, you can also now deal with people in Northern Ireland. Oh, I'm so proud. We can actually give medicine to our own people in Northern Ireland, but we couldn't before. It's absolutely embarrassing what sort of situation we're living in right now. We left the European Union, but they say, well, we have to protect the integrity of the single market. What about the integrity of the United Kingdom, guys? But no, that is not a priority for the political establishment. So these are the headlines, and some sound okay-ish. The rest is still a bit, and I need to find out more information. Again, because if you're going to find out more information, you're going to realize too much compromise happening from the British government side, then I'm going to go back to my main position saying, well, let's just come out of it. I don't care. If you're going to build a wall, because that's your problem is the open border between the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland, let them do it. We're not going to do it. We're not going to build anything. If they're going to do hard checks, let's see if they have the bravery to cause trouble and disturbance. The European Union or the Irish government. I don't think they can. We should have just bluffed it from day one, but again, it's quite difficult now. We've gone too deep into the rabbit hole. Anyway, let me know what you think so far. We're going to come back throughout the day when you get more information on this and other news stories as well. I'm Mahyar, Tousi, and we are the media.